one is super special. Everyone, this has something for everyone. I'm going to share information no one else has. It's only here being revealed for the first time. So if you see this and you say, I'm not interested in Ethereum Classic, screw that. Trust me, you're going to want to watch at least the first 2 minutes, because I'm going to give you information that, you know what, it's going to probably change your valuation. It's going to make you think differently about Ethereum Classic. This information is nowhere else. If you're not interested in Ethereum Classic, but you're just interested in other blockchains, you're going to learn a lot on this one. You're going to learn about decentralization, about governance, about blockchain. You're going to see why there's this issue in Ethereum Classic. And if you're part of Ethereum Classic, well, obviously you're going to want to watch the entire thing, because not only am I going to discuss this issue, I'm also going to explain how we get out of this issue, right? How Ethereum Classic can become one of the strongest, if not the strongest, EVM blockchain out there. Now, as I promised, I'm first going to focus on what is that value? What is that secret that people don't know? Because, hey, a lot of people have written off Ethereum Classic. They say, you know, Ethereum Classic, there's no development. There was that 51% attack. There's been no new commits. Nothing's changing. Well, guess what? You're wrong. But it's not your fault. You see, there's this unique issue only with Ethereum Classic. Only with Ethereum Classic. And right now, it's that the development is being underreported. Every single other blockchain overreports its development as much as possible. But this unique issue that Ethereum Classic has with having multiple GitHubs after a GitHub takeover in December of last year, it's now creating this moment where all of its development is being underreported, no matter how much work is happening. I mean, literally, there was just a hard fork, and it's barely being reported in all the screeners people use. So here's an example, right? Let's go to CoinDesk, which, ironically, CoinDesk has a reason to care. If you guys know about the ownership in DCG, you should know that Barry Silbert cares about Ethereum Classic. But for some reason, the screeners, not doing the best thing for Ethereum Classic. So right here, there's a development score. And the development score is based on GitHub activity. Now, I said before, there are multiple GitHubs. The most active GitHub is not the one being tracked here. In fact, the one they're tracking here says no commits, no new commits, which is not true. There's plenty of activity. So you see here, it says watchers 86 and stars 437. If we go and check which GitHub it's looking at Ethereum project, which is the original Ethereum blockchain project's GitHub. In case you didn't know that, some history. The Ethereum, everybody knows, this is the GitHub it started from. But when the fork happened, Ethereum's actually the fork. Ethereum Classic continued to use this GitHub. Those metrics show that this is the GitHub that's looking at. And this GitHub is barely being used right now. It's not that this is, this is not the one that has the most activity. So because there's multiple ones, who knows which one to look at? This one isn't doing it justice because not the most activity is happening here. ETC Labs Core is a GitHub, ETC Cooperative is a GitHub, and of course, Ethereum Classic GitHub. So very important to understand. A lot of websites are underreporting. Now you're saying, okay, Dean, it's just CoinDesk. No, it's not just CoinDesk. Messari, look at this. Same thing. 86 watchers, 437 stars, one commit in the last 3 months. Wrong. There's a lot going on. But wait one second. I thought Messari was tracking Ethereum Classic GitHub. Well, only on the profile page does Messari have Ethereum Classic's GitHub. But on their metrics, they're checking out Ethereum project. You see what happens, crypto world, when there's massive decentralization? Now, everybody that's trying to figure out how your project's doing can't know what to look at because you got 15 friggin' GitHubs. And it's not only there, I also use CryptoMiso. CryptoMiso has Ethereum Classic. Where are we? Where's Ethereum Classic here? My God, it was somewhere over here. There you go, 178th. It's looking at the exact same thing. Ethereum project, 37 commits. Now, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that GitHub. I'm saying that that's not the one that's showing the most activity. It's not. There's activity happening on all these different GitHubs, and there's no way for them to track them. And there's disagreement on which one people should be looking at. So for all the investors out there, understand right now, all of the development is being under-tracked. And for anybody that's in crypto, you have to understand why it's important to have one GitHub. So I'm now going to move forward with explaining some other issues with having multiple GitHubs. It was brought up in a tweet addressed to Bob Somerville, or it was part of Bob Somerville's thread on GitHub, where somebody was pointing out that he couldn't find, when he Googled, he got Ethereum project, and Cody said, well, you're looking at the wrong one. But then he says, hey, that's where Google took me. This is a problem with having multiple GitHubs. I asked Bob, hey, what we need to do to resolve it? And I agree with what he said, right? It's one repo. I said, is it one repo and one improvement proposal? He agrees. It's one repo, one improvement proposal. So which should it be? We can figure that out. What improvement proposal? I think there already is one. But this is important, right? You're seeing that when people are trying to get involved, they don't even know where to go. Like if I were to Google Ethereum Classic, the first thing that comes up is ethereumclassic.org. If I go to ethereumclassic.org, I'm going to be able to see, hey, there's a bunch of different resources. So let's say I go over to community. Now there's 5 different GitHubs. I don't know any of the history, but 5 different GitHubs, where do I go? And guess what? The one that I mentioned that's on those 3 other screener sites, project, it's not even here. Like you can tell that it almost feels like this is completely unorganized, that no one cares. And that's not the case. It's very organized. Like everybody knows. Well, actually, it's not very organized. That's unfair. That's unfair. It is unorganized. And it's taking time to develop things because we have so many different GitHubs. You know how many times I'm trying to write like a proposal? I've done a proposal before, right? And I'm going to show the proposal soon. But it just adds aggravation to an already difficult decentralized process. There's no reason for all of this. So before I get too emotional, because I do care. I care a lot. Before I get too emotional, let's just focus on what we've gone through so far. The screeners are incorrectly reporting. Now, that's good for you as an investor because you now know that there's a lot happening that's not being reported to the general market. That's bad for the Ethereum Classic community because the price is misrepresented, right? It should be a lot higher than it is. But now we're laying the groundwork for how to fix this, right? So that's problem number 1. Problem number 2, when people are searching, when people want to get involved, they don't know where to go. That confusion is going to decrease adoption. It's going to decrease dApp development. It's going to decrease the investment. Now, there's a third problem. And that third problem is that this has created mistrust within the community. Now, this is specifically speaking to Ethereum Classic people. And if you're involved in any crypto project, you have to understand that trust matters, even though we're in a trust minimized, decentralized world. At the end of the day, we need to trust each other. We need to trust our incentives, right? Why is Bitcoin so amazing? Because the incentives have been set up so much, so well, that you know what? I really don't need to trust you in certain different places. And Ethereum Classic has the same thing. But the community has slowly tried to become too decentralized as a result of distrust. So we need to get back to a place where trust is installed so things can move forward faster. It's that simple. The longer we stay distrusting each other, the longer it's going to take to develop things. And that's not good for anybody. Why do I say that this is born from distrust? You can see some history. There are 3 articles. Now, for people who are not involved in the Ethereum Classic, I don't blame you for not knowing about this GitHub takeover. It's not reported anywhere. You start Googling, like almost no one reported it, right? And it's tough. It's tough to do this reporting because you've got perspectives, right? You've got people who say, this is what happened, this is what happened. Ultimately, there's only 3 actors, 3 people that mattered in this. It was ETC Labs, Igor, Artamanov, and Cody Burns. Igor and Artamanov matter because they were the admins, the most active admins before CryCoder, who, as ETC Labs says, is the account that ETC Labs uses. CryCoder was added to the GitHub and then removed everyone else. This is the only time in blockchain this has happened, okay? And there's no way you can call it anything else other than a takeover, where you were invited and then you kicked the other people out. He explains here that he was convinced to give access, Igor says it, and then admin control was applied. This is fact. This is fact. This isn't something you can discuss or wishy-wash on. He added them. He added CryCoder. CryCoder kicked them out. Okay. Obviously, this was an abuse of trust. Now, should it have happened? You can read the clarification for the actions and make your own decision on that. But this is the reason for the action. And there's one statement, which is, we have absolutely zero malicious intentions. And a year later, it's very hard for anybody to argue that there were malicious intentions. You can make your decisions. That's my opinion. Now, further down, this is where we get to what can we do to solve it. We solemnly reiterate, ETC Labs and CryCoder have absolutely no intention to be the only owner of the account. Even ETC Labs agrees that there should be multiple owners of an account, and I think everyone agrees that there should be one account. So I've explained to you why there should be one account. Because right now, multiple accounts is hurting us on searchability, on screeners, and on trust. How do we get there, Dean? What do we do next? Well, I'm glad you asked, because I've also put together an improvement proposal, which I think is very important for this. Now, the improvement proposal I put together is how to communicate with third parties. And this all has to do with those third parties, right? It's how do we get searched on Google? How do we discuss and get found in the screeners our work? This all has to do with how the third parties see us, right? And I say us because I wrote this as well. I'm part of the community. I'm proud to be part of this community. What I'm proposing is we move forward with this proposal, and the first thing we do is we communicate to the world what the one repo is. Now, as part of this, I've outlined that every organization has to be part of the discussion. What we're going to have to do is choose who are going to be the admins, which is going to be the one repo, and then we're going to share it with everyone. On choosing admins, I think we need to take a page out of Bitcoin. Now, for GitHub control, it's important that the only people who are admins are people that need to be admins. This can't be a vanity thing. You can't say, look, you're an honorary, oh, we care about your opinion so much and we love you so much, blah, blah, blah. It has to be who is essential to being an admin, because otherwise it is a security threat, right? Not because we don't trust people. It's because things happen, 2FA attacks and whatnot. Like there's just things that happen. Bitcoin has done the same. It's not an affront. It's not an attack on somebody. This is just the way you have correct security. So after we do this improvement proposal, we're going to decide what is the one repo. We're going to share it with the world. And all of a sudden, everyone's going to see how much development's happening. Development's going to go faster. And there's going to be trust reinstalled. And I honestly believe that if we all agree on one repo, trust will be reinstalled. It's tough, but hey, we have to be big boys. We have to be grown up about it. There's nothing else more important than just doing the right thing to help progress at this point. Now, the reason why I'm doing this episode was because I asked you, the community, what I should discuss. And this was what was voted. This is also a perfect time to do this episode because it's ETC Summit, October 3rd, October 4th in Vancouver. I'm so jealous. I wish I could be there. I love all of you. I miss all of you. And I know you guys are going to do some amazing things out there. So from an investor standpoint as well, if you've still been watching, check it out. There's going to be a huge summit right when this video comes out as well. So, hey, things are going to be talked about. Who knows what's going to happen? Something big is going to happen. I'm positive. Now, for my subscribers, for my viewers, oh my God, I love you guys so much. I mean, I can't believe I've been doing this for a month and I've got over 100 subscribers, and like 36 of you guys like interacted on telling me what to discuss. I love you all. I'm going to keep on doing this every week. So every week I'm going to do a poll. Help me choose what to do research about, because I want to have these episodes where it's actionable, right? Find something to fix something. And finally, for the rest of this week, I'm only going to be doing solo videos. I'm in China. VPN is tough. So this is the only way I'm going to be able to continue producing content for the rest of this week. Next week, it's going to resume with awesome interviews. And yeah, can't wait to do more. So gentlemen, ETC community, seriously, let's push forward on ECIP-1064. Let's get voting on what is going to be the one repo. Let's communicate it to the world so that things can get better. For all other communities out there, look at why it's important to have one GitHub. Decentralization is important, but one GitHub. You need to have your best access. That's the way that people get into your project. You can't mess around, right? These screeners, they have their processes. They have way too much going on. Trust me, all these guys, we've talked to them, right? Like they no matter how much we try, it's confusing stuff. And for investors out there, understand there are things happening, and this is one of those few projects that's misunderstood completely. No other project has had as much history and as much decentralization as this one. The code is law ethos is strong. We can have another discussion about why that's important. I strongly urge you to really look at what's happening under the hood. Otherwise, everyone, take care. Have a good one. Till next time.